Kizamune, hop on the beat!
It's been close to a month since the release of the first episode of Steel Ball Run, and days since the confirmation that the second stage of the anime will be releasing sometime this year. The JoJo community has had quite a time, with people being completely unsure what the state of the anime is, and when we can expect to see more. Thankfully, Netflix has put out a statement which sheds some light on things and confirms a more specific release plan. There's been a lot of reactions to the news, including some confusion or misinterpretation of what was said. So I'd like to go over it in detail, so we can hopefully all get on the same page, as well as share my thoughts on what's going on. The statement goes as follows. Thank you all for the incredible support for Steel Ball Run, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. The series is currently in production and will be available for everyone to enjoy. We are planning a split core release across the entire run of episodes. The next core, second stage, will begin streaming in fall 2026 on Netflix with one new episode released each week. This release schedule is part of our original plan and reflects the wishes of the production committee. Your passion and enthusiasm mean a great deal to everyone involved in the preparation. We appreciate your patience and continued support as we work towards bringing you the second stage. So, just to clarify what was said here, we can expect to see more Steel Ball runs sometime this fall. Keep in mind that by fall, they likely mean it in the way that you refer to seasonal Japanese anime, where winter actually starts with January. So this could be anywhere from October to December. This post also tells us that we'll be getting a split core release. If you don't know, a core refers to a broadcasting block of anime, so not necessarily a full season. So that's why you'll sometimes see anime that market themselves as one season while being split into multiple cores. That is kind of what we got with Stone Ocean. From a production standpoint, the 3 batches weren't standalone seasons, they're just split up. Most importantly, we finally learn here that the Steel Ball Run episodes will be broadcast weekly. This is a huge relief since I'd been fearing getting another situation like how Stone Ocean's batch release was handled. It feels kind of surreal now since we haven't actually gotten a weekly JoJo anime release since Part 5, which was all the way back in 2019. With us knowing the next chunk of the anime will be the second stage, along with this announcement of a split core release, I think this is a sign that the anime will be coming out split up along the stages of the race. I'll avoid getting into spoilers on the story contents of the stages, but I want to point out that there is a pretty big difference in length between each stage, which makes me wonder just how they plan on releasing that. The first stage covers the first 12 chapters of the manga, which was adapted into the anime's big 47-minute premiere episode. Stage 2, on the other hand, is 15 chapters long. However, this is somewhat misleading since starting in chapter 24, Steel Ball Run switched from being published in Weekly Shonen Jump to Shueisha's monthly publication Ultra Jump. As a weekly manga before this point, most Steel Ball Run chapters were exactly 31 pages long, with a few jumping up to 37, and the first chapter having some special treatment and being 53 pages long. After switching to monthly, however, most chapters' page counts came to be in the 60s. So stage 2 is still significantly longer than the first, despite having a similar number of chapters. The later stages' chapter counts really reflect the change, since the third stage is 5 chapters long, the fourth is 7, and the fifth is 5. Some of these stages only really include one stand battle, so if we're thinking of it as an anime release, I just can't see them coming back after a break, dropping one fight, and then going back on hiatus. So for some of these stages, like the 3rd through 7th, I expect them to be grouped together a bit. So we might be getting a weekly season of the 3rd and 4th together, or something like that. The 8th stage is also important here, since this is pretty much the climax of the story. This stage is 31 chapters long, so in that case, we may actually see the 8th stage split into different cores. Of course, this is all theoretical, and we have no idea so far what length of cores they're planning on doing. Since the next batch of the anime is being marketed as the second stage, I think we can expect it to just cover that, meaning the fights with the Boom Boom family, Oyukomo Va, and the Tusk chapters. So we should be getting a decent chunk of episodes here. I also expect them to possibly add scenes along the way and flesh things out like the anime has done before. Overall, I'm quite happy with this news. While it may not be exactly the same as the old weekly JoJo, which went through a full part in one go, I think I'll be satisfied getting something like a nice portion of weekly episodes, then a break, and then another weekly run. For as much as I love the JoJo anime, it has had some serious quality issues in the past, so hopefully this kind of schedule will help mitigate that. And as long as the release is paced out well, I think it'll actually be a positive overall. Keep in mind that by page count, this is the longest JoJo part that has been animated so far, so having some more time to make sure everything is adapted well is a good thing. And thanks to the weekly release, the waits won't be as awful as before. While fall does sound like it's a long ways away, hopefully it'll end up being worth it when we finally get some more weekly JoJo. Let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on the new announcement, and how do you think the release will be structured? If you want to stay updated on new videos, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. You can also join the Hom and Beat Discord to be notified about new uploads and any important JoJo news. Finally, I'd appreciate if you help support the channel on Patreon or by becoming a YouTube member. All supporters get their names shown in the credits and can submit viewer questions. Thank you for watching. This is the part of the video where I thank my $5 and up patrons and members. Thank you to Doorbell, Crayon, RigoVids, Pumpkin Doge, Sponge Cake, Cakext, Feliciano Rabaja, Christian McDonough, Pulse Dog, Rob Goliath, Big T, Gold, Red Hot Mayonnaise, Baxtonius, Zenkai, Keenan, Saint Bobo, John Garcia, Crank and Plank, Fran Studios, Shin Megami Tensei Film Reviews, Griffiono, Fiddlehead, Justice, Joel Marchins, Danilo K, Star the Gunslinger, Mel, Kali, Javier's Milk, Billy the Corgi, Joe Jogan, Time Lord, and Moist Daddy Tom.